Good morning, YouTube. Man, always George Page coming to you live on YouTube. Well, I gotta give a shout out to my family who are fans of wrestling, to my brothers XA Gucci 23, Reef the Watcher, and El Coach, and also to my sisters, Miss Fishiana and my new baby sister, Wild Tiger Eye. And she really, I want to dedicate this to her because she was the one who got me to do this. As you know, a week ago, they had SummerSlam. SummerSlam is the biggest pay per view for WWE because it's the end of the summer. It's the last pay per view for the summer. And the big event was the return of Becky Lynch, the man. And the problem is, I never liked that chick calling herself the man. Don't call yourself a man when you're not. I mean, I've never been a fan of her. So anyway, I think it was a triple threat match between her, another wrestler who I didn't know. Like I said, I don't watch WWE like that anymore, like I used to, and Bianca Belair. As you know, Bianca Belair is the I think the SmackDown champion, and she won the title a while back against Sasha Banks, and and Bianca lost. And this is what I've been thinking for quite some while. The McMahon family don't very much have a fondness for people of color unless you were a certain color outside of black. And Bianca, from what I follow from Receiver, she's a pretty cool chick. I mean, amazing woman, great competitor. And she was holding the title for quite some time. She won the title early this year, and it was on a pay per view where both her and Sasha Banks wrestled, and they were, I think the co-main event, I believe. And it was history. I did a video about it, how two black women made history, being the you know, co-main event at at a wrestle. I think it was WrestleMania or whatever. I think it was one of those. Being at a WWE pay per view. But we all know that the WWE has their favorites, especially if you're not black. And the thing was, Becky was gone because what happened to her. She was the baby mama to Seth Rollins, and because Seth is a popular wrestler and she's a popular wrestler, she got opportunity. Once she, finished being mommy for a time, and she wanted to come back, she came back. You know, but to me, I think Bianca is a great wrestler. From what I've seen for her, she started off in the XT division, and this is her with one of the XT, women's XT champion, the women's WWE champion, and herself the SmackDown champion. And I mean, that's great representation. But back in the day, I remember a great wrestler by the name of Ron Simmons. He became the first black wrestler to win the NWA championship. And it was a great thing. Ron Simmons, for football player, legend. I grew, I grew up watching him back in the day, tag team champion, twice over. Him and Butch Reed back in the day. I mean, a big fan of Ron. And then WWE, or at the time was WWF, kind of changed the narrative. And then he created the Farouk character. He looked like some kind of, he looked like the guy from, when he first started, he looked like the guy from Beastmaster. Jack or Jane almost plays, John almost who played James from Good Times. The character he played in, that's what he looked like. Then he became some kind of militant. Then he was with, Bradshaw, and they were APA, Apocalypse of the Disciples. I think it was, I forget the name, how to say the name. It was all the time. And then it's just pulling the word damn. Just walk around saying damn all the time. And just, this is man's a legend. I mean, he beat Ric Flair for the title. But WWF's been like that. When Ahmed Johnson was with them, and Ahmed was impressive. I liked Ahmed Johnson. He was the first black man to win Intercontinental Championship, and usually when you win that title, it's pushed to becoming heavyweight title. But then Ahmed had injuries and everything else, and they wouldn't get a big push. Even though he won a Slammy one year, I remember that time he won a Slammy, and Goldust got mad. And then he went to WCW for a time, and he was with you know, um, Booker T's brother, Stevie Ray, for a time, and he would tell my name T. But the thing was that WWE just didn't give his brother the push. I think he was too black, too strong. I just the mentality of it. The McMahon's, the McMahon's are from my home state of North Carolina. People don't know that, and and there's quite a few people who are from my state who are still a bit not too fond of black people. And then there was the great late JYD, Junkyard Dog. I used to love Junkyard Dog. Come out there, hoo, bark like a dog. I mean, a lot of rappers now, like DMX, everybody's owe that to him. And JYD was a great wrestler, but he was just didn't never got that push. He's been a tag team wrestler, and he owned titles in other organizations, but they never gave him that push. That's the sad thing about it. And he passed away in the '90s, and just broken hearted when I heard he died. I mean, I wish he stayed a little longer. Maybe maybe we'll get the push eventually, but I don't know. I doubt it. He just wasn't what they want to see. What and also we had the issue with Bobby Lashley and Vince McMahon. Vince's old ass. He was on. Everybody know Vince was on roids. And Bobby Lashley. This guy's oppressive, former military serviceman. He was in special forces. I mean, just about him was just so great about him. And from an MMA fighter, it was comparing him to Brock Lesnar. You call Brock Lesnar the Vanilla Gorilla. Well, Bobby was the Chocolate Gorilla. I mean, he was this is a big brother. I mean, 6'3". He's pretty strong, and he had a pretty good MMA career. He was with the Bellator, the opposite of UFC, and he came back to wrestling after a while, and then he had struggles. He had issues. I mean, some of those issues were put on the front, but then the issues are you can see in the back. And then you got it with MVP, MVP from back in the day, and they started a coalition. This guy and Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. I think I like this. This is like a good example of strong black men coming together. And I hope they don't get clowned too often. I hope they don't. And then you can't forget Kofi Kingston. Kofi was in there for, I think, how long? 10, 12 years. He's been, tag team champion. I think he's been intercontinental champion. But he had his opportunity to finally become, world heavyweight champion. And that was a great thing. That was a beautiful thing. I was going to think about doing a video about it, but I never did. I don't know why. Maybe I was just so busy rapping other stuff. But, Kofi was just that guy, especially he was from Africa. He's from and that's black and strong. Even though he was the great New Day. The New Day's kind of like the Freebirds of the new millennium. I like kind of like them. But then what happened. Kofi didn't hold the title long, and then they brought Brock Lesnar because why the Great White Hype agenda. And it's always been away with that with organizations like Titan Sports, which is which owns WWE. And he brought back, Brock Lesnar. He beats him real quick, and then wow, Brock's the champion. Oh, Lord. You know, the reason why he ran over to back to WWE because the fact was he was getting his tail handed to him in MMA. Get beat by Cain Velasquez and I think Junior Dos Santos. He just need to go somewhere where with also MMA they have they have the guidelines so he couldn't use steroids like he used to. Also had an infection a while back. And that's what happens when you share needles. And there was The Rock, and The Rock was secondly I think The Rock was the second black man to hold an Intercontinental Championship. And The Rock, I like The Rock. I mean, I love The Rock. The Attitude Era with him and Stone Cold and all the others was a great era. And the thing about The Rock is that, people didn't mention the fact he was black too much because, he was mixed. His father being the great late Rocky Johnson, his mother being the daughter of the great late Peter Maivia. He was using the name, he was going by Rocky Maivia for a good while. And then he changed his look and style and became The Rock, And it's just, he's a legacy. He's a legacy kid. He's, third generation. His father, his grandfather, then also most of his family's in the wrestling. Him and Roman Reigns are, I think, second, third cousin. Jimmy Snuka, he used to call uncle. Him and Rikishi are cousins. He's cousins to the Uzos. That's what got him in being a generation wrestler. That's no different. The generation wrestlers are pretty much the ones who keep the sport going. You can't forget Charlotte Flair. Originally the push was to her older brother David, and David he wasn't that good, and then there was younger brother Reese, but after him he passed away, and Charlotte she had to take the mantle, be the one to represent the family, and that's a great thing, I've seen a lot more now happening in WWE. A lot of the daughters of legends are taking up. You have Ric Flair and you have Tessa Blanchard, Telly Blanchard's daughter. Also you got another legacy daughter. You have Natalia Neihart. You got to think about it. She's third generation, just like The Rock. Her father, Jim Anvil, her grandfather Stu, not Stu Hart, and then her uncle. We all know the great, the best of the best that is, the best that ever will be. Bret Hart. I mean, Bret was one of the best. But you know what? We all know the history of Bret with his association with uh the Titans Sports and the Mcmahons. We all remember the famous Calgary screw job, and that happened because Bret was getting frustrated with with the McMahons and everything else, and he wanted to move on. And you remember the story how the reason why Vince did this because when you remember Alondra Blaze, who became Medusa, who went to WCW, she took the women's title belt and threw it in the trash, and Vince didn't want the same thing happen to the men's title, and he did a screw job to you know Bret because we all know that Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, even though on the front cameras they weren't very good friends, but they were friendly each other in the back rooms because of the fact that they got to work together. And eventually these men they settled the difference a long time ago. Still not as friendly as you think they should be, but that's how it is sometimes, especially in this sport. And not everybody can be the best of friends. And then there was the great Miss Jacqueline, and Jackie Moore, best known for, and just one of the most beautiful, great female wrestlers of all time, especially a black woman, one of the most successful black women in history. I love this picture right here. My God, that's why I picked it. Gosh, she was so sexy back then. She's still sexy today. And she became multiple time champion. She has been women's title champion. She has been women's tag team champion. Even been women's hardcore champion. I'm telling you, I'm getting hardcore about her too. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to get perfect stage, but Jackie was just a great wrestler, and I think she didn't get as much respect as she should have. And that's the thing is the great late Malcolm X says the black woman is the most disrespected person in America, and I think I have a lot of respect for Miss Moore. I might even try to reach out to her do an interview. I hope to. I would love to do an interview with Miss Jacqueline. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, a great wrestler. I'm a big fan of her. And my brother, Coach Shannon Harrison, did an interview with Jazz, and Jazz was one of those great women. Great physical presence, attractive, great. I mean, as you know, I'm a fan of female with muscles. She had a great muscular body. But the thing is, she can get a lot of respect she should have. But she gets more respect in independence. As you know, she recently retired. She did a while back. She did a retirement tour, and and she's still a great lady. I mean, she's a mother. She's a wrestler. I have a lot of respect for Jackie. I mean, I hate to say, I forgot how back in the day. I have a lot of respect for Jazz. And she is one of the few black women. It wasn't for her and Jacqueline, you wouldn't have Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair and also Naomi. And Naomi, you remember she started off. She was with that dude, the Funk, whatever it was, the dinosaur, her and the other girl, and she started off as just as a like people like Sable and some other ladies. Started off as just a valet, and then she became a wrestler and a title holder. And she is just she's married to the Uzos. That means she's also connected to The Rock, being his cousin-in-law. And she has friendship with women like Natalia and stuff like that. Remember, Natalia took the title from her. But they're all good friends. You remember that show, Totally Divas. A lot of these are good friends, but also, you know, I have a lot of respect for her. I think she's a beautiful woman. And she's got that booty. She did that booty trick. Oh my God. Jimmy Uso, man, you better treat this woman right. If you don't, somebody want to snatch her up. And you have Sasha Banks, and she, I think with Sasha is what she's more the complexion that I think Americans are more comfortable with. She's not, she's black. We all know she's black, but she has those looks that you can pass off as something else. But that's the thing about her. She was a pretty good wrestler. I like Sasha Banks, and I can't lie, she's attractive. And also the thing is, she has a connection because she's cousins with Snoop Dogg. So you get that celebrity connection. That's what I think WWE trying to push a lot. And she's been a multiple times women's champion, tag team champion. I mean, this is the type of person that Titan Sports can sell easier than others because, like I said, her looks and complexion. The boss. I can live with the boss and some chick calling herself the man. And and her and Bianca are pretty cool. But then you had the rivalry, and then they had that great wrestling match between two beautiful black women representing our culture, and that was such a beautiful thing. That was history, history. See two black women, was it co-main event headlining a WWE event. I mean, that's just some history. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for Bianca Blair and also for Sasha Banks, representing our people. And this was them at the ESPYs. And wow. She lucky she's married. Oh my gosh, she's a beautiful, but both of them are beautiful women. And this thing is, even though wrestling, professional wrestling is not considered per se a sport, but it is still sports entertainment, no different than baseball, football, basketball, MMA, and she's a great wife and a mother. People forget that she's a wife and a mother, and that's a hard job to hold. Being a professional wrestler, like a lot of the guys, they have to go on tours and they leave their families for a long time. But you got to think about it. She has to be away from her kids, and it's a woman's nature. Mothers love their children, and she has to sacrifice so much for being away from her husband and her children to do this for a living. To have a passion for this, and I have to respect her for that. And she's strong. Oh my God, look at that. As you know, I'm a muscle lady smo, and I have a lot of respect for women who have strength, not her just her physical strength, but her mental strength to do this for a living. But we all know what's going to happen. It's going to be a rematch. It's just inevitable. It's just part of the sport. You gotta, people want to see this rematch between, you know, the between Bianca and and Becky. B versus B. Don't think of it. No, don't think of it another way. But this is a rematch that's supposed to happen. It's going to happen. Probably maybe the next big preview. Generally that's what the best way to do it. Well, I think it's SummerSlam. I forget who's next. It's been so long. There used to be 4 or 5 good big pay-per-views. WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and if anybody who knows wrestling, you remember the other ones, put them in the comment section. Because like I say, it's been such a while since I really watched WWE. I kind of fell off about it. But you know what? I'm just doing this because, like I said, I want to recognize the fact that you know black people in professional wrestling have had a long time, but have also had a great history in this sport. You know, but like I said, I want to wish the best of luck to Bianca Blair. I hope she gets her title back, and I hope she can hold it for a while. You know how it is. They probably throw against somebody new or somebody that's been who's been holding the title some of the time. But you know what? WWE just the problem is the McMahons get in their own way. They have a great product, but they get in their own way. And the fact is that also there is a good majority of the fan base is white males. And the fact is that you just don't like the fact of the idea of being too black and too strong in their mentality. But like I said, I love this shirt. That's why I picked this picture here. Educated, motivated, validated, and elevated. And that is just truly who we are. We're a people that's been around here for a long time. And we earned that respect. We earned that right. So like I said, I'm hoping that they do give Bianca a shot. Not some kind of, probably might do, now they're doing women in Hell in Cells now. That could be something great. I mean, Hell in Cell between her and Bianca Blair, between her and Becky. You know, that's a possibility. A Hell in a Cell match. I would love to see that. If it's really good, I won't say it will be the level of like maybe the Undertaker versus Mankind, but still, if it's good enough where it can be up there in history, then they should do it. So Vince McMahon, get out of your way, start dragging feet. Vince retire. Go with Linda somewhere to the Bahamas or somewhere, or one of your mistresses. Just get out your own way. Maybe let Triple H take over. Somebody else take over. Somebody who's not a McMahon. No, don't give it to Shane. Don't give it to Stephanie. Let somebody who really been there. Like I said, Triple H's been there. He's been there and done that, and he's a better person, I believe. So maybe people, like I said, do this, people. I'm gonna put WWE has a social media. Put in the description, and just reach out and tell them that we want to see a Hell in a Cell match between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. That is gonna be the match of the century. This is your man on the Ray Page. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out.